Hello, welcome to the channel History with Hansa. This is Dr. Hansa Das with you, and I have already made 4 videos on the Harappan civilization in which we have talked about the important sites, the material characteristics, the social and economic lives of the Harappans. And this presentation will focus upon the religion and religious practices of the Harappan civilization. Please watch it till the end. Now, when we talk of religion, like in all ancient cultures of the world, religion must have played a dominant role in the lives of the Harappan people as well. Our information on the subject, that is religion and religious practices of the Harappans, is based solely on Harappan seals, seal impressions, terracotta and metal figures, cemeteries, etc. Now, religion is one question about which there has been considerable discussion among scholars. And one major problem is that without written information, it is difficult to differentiate between the sacred and the secular activities of the Harappans. So it seems that any or every find from Harappa could have a sacred content. For example, we have no evidence of temple or place of worship at any of the Harappan sites in general. But there are certain buildings in the citadel and lower town at Mohenjo-daro which have a large number of stone sculptures which seem to have a religious character. For example, in the lower city at Mohenjo-daro, a large building has been discovered, and this building has a monumental entrance. It has a double stairway which leads to a raised platform on which was found a stone sculpture about 16.5 inches high. It is a seated man with hands on knees. Now, another stone statue was discovered in the same building. So some scholars believe that it could have been a place of worship. Similarly, we find that in Mohenjo-daro, several structures are reported from the citadel mound which seem to have had some ritual significance. Among them, the Great Bath is the most famous, and such elaborate bathing arrangements were made in the very sacred ritual spots in the subsequent historical phases also in India. So it is likely that the Great Bath was not simply a swimming pool, but that it had a great ritual significance. You can see the picture of the Great Bath which I have shown in the slide. It it looks like a swimming pool, but probably it had a much greater ritual significance. Again, near the Great Bath was found another large structure which has been identified as the residence of some high priest or college of priests. Similarly, an oblong assembly hall has also been reported from the citadel area, and to the west of this structure was found a complex of rooms, in one of which was discovered a seated male statue. This seated male statue and this portion, this too has also been identified as a part of some religious structure. Now, these ritual structures definitely provide us with a glimpse of the religious practices of the people of Harappa. So there has been a lot of debate whether there was a temple or not, there was a place of worship or not, and there have been differing opinions among historians about the topic. Now we come to basically the objects or the gods and goddesses that the Harappans worshipped. Now, the evidence for the objects of worship comes from the study of basically the Harappan seals and the terracotta figurines. Among the evidences that come from seals, the most famous is a deity who has been identified as Pashupati Shiva. I've shown the picture of Proto Shiva or Pashupati Shiva in the slide. Now, on a series of seals, a deity wearing a buffalo horn headdress is shown, sitting in a yogic posture. The deity is surrounded by animals like goats, elephants, tiger, and antelope. Marshall identified him with god Pashupati, or the lord of beasts. In one seal are shown snakes accompanying the yogic figure, and these evidences have led the scholars to believe that Shiv was the most important male god of the Harappans. Then we have uh, the evidence of the worship of Mother Goddess. The Harappan settlements have yielded a very large number of terracotta figurines, and among them are the representations of females with necklaces bearing a fan-shaped headdress, etc. And these indicate the prevalence of the cults of fertility and mother goddess worship. Harappans also worshipped tree spirits. Several seals depict the peepal tree. The peepal tree was perhaps the most sacred and religious to them. In many cases, a figure is shown looking through the branches, and scholars believe that this represents the tree spirit. In many cases, worshippers are shown standing in front of the tree. In many other cases, a tiger or some other animal is shown in front of the tree. And in one of the cases, 7 human figures are shown standing in front of the tree with a horned figure standing in it, and the horned figure probably is Shiv. After tree spirits, there were some mythical heroes also, the evidence of which we find in the Harappan civilization. So some other human figures which seem to have a religious significance are those found on seals and amulets. Human figures with horns on the head and long tails, etc., are frequently shown on the seals. And some seals remind us of Mesopotamian mythology. For example, I have shown you the picture of Gilgamesh with the 2 tigers, which is believed to have been related to the Mesopotamian culture. So, a man grappling with a pair of tigers, it immediately brings to mind a brave warrior called Gilgamesh, who is said to have killed 2 tigers. So there are mythical heroes also. Then animal worship, a large number of animals also seem to have been worshipped, and our information comes from the representation of bulls and cows on seals and ceilings and in terracotta. One important animal frequently represented on the Harappan seals is the unicorn. This is a horse-like beast with a horn issuing from the middle of its head. Obviously, the unicorn was a mythical animal, and it is likely to have been a cult object. Now, we also have evidences of fire altars. The Harappans at Kalibangan and Lothal seem to have followed certain different religious practices. For example, at Kalibangan in the citadel were found a series of raised brick platforms crowned with fire altars. That is, a series of brick-lined pits containing ash and animal bones. This area also had a well and bathing places, and this complex seems to have represented some kind of ritual center where animal sacrifice and some sort of fire rituals were performed. Several other fire altars are also reported. At Lothal also fire altars have been found. So these are basically the different modes and the different objects of worship and the pattern of worship followed by the Harappans. And finally, we come to another important aspect of the religious practices of the Harappans, which is about the burial of the dead. Now, the Harappan civilization has not yielded any monuments for the dead, which could equal the pyramids of Egypt or the royal cemetery of the Mesopotamian city of Ur in its grandeur. But definitely, we have evidences about the burial practices of the Harappans. Now, in Harappa, many graves have been discovered, and dead bodies were generally placed in a north-south direction. A large number of earthen pots were placed in the grave, and in some cases, the dead were buried with ornaments. Uh, Also, a number of graves were constructed with bricks. A coffin burial has been found at Harappa. At Kalibangan, some other kinds of burial practices were encountered. Small circular pits containing large urns and accompanied by pottery have been found. And from Lothal, there are some examples of pairs of skeletons with a male and a female, in each case buried together. So the burial practices of the Harappans throw a lot of light upon the religion that they practiced and the different kind of faiths that they had. Uh, Finally, we could say that a study of the various kinds of objects found in excavations shows that different regions of the Harappan civilization followed different kinds of religious practices. For example, fire worship was prevalent in Kalibangan and Lothal, but unknown in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Similarly, the ritual bathing evidenced at Mohenjo-daro might have been absent in Harappa. Now, the burial practices also show a wide variation, ranging from extended inhumation to double burials to pot burials. Finds in Kalibangan also show that different kinds of burial practices were being followed in the same settlement, and this kind of diversity of religious beliefs and practices, even in the same settlement, reflects the complex nature of the urban centers. Now, unlike tribal societies where every member of the tribe follows similar kinds of religious practices, the urban centers are characterized by the presence of people following different kinds of religious practices. This apparently means that urban centers were formed by the political and economic integration of varied social groups. So this was about the religion of the Harappans, and we have completed a major portion of the lecture series on Harappan civilization. Now, please look out for my next video, which is upon the diffusion and decline of the Harappan civilization, how the Harappan civilization declined, how it came to an end. So, thank you for watching. Thank you very much.